Next up is Gene Okerlund backstage with Jake Roberts and Alice Cooper. Roberts says that Jimmy Hart planted the seed in Honky's head about him being attacked, but says he is still walking. Not really sure what that means. I may not have written that properly. Then Alice Cooper briefly says that he will keep his eye on Jimmy Hart. This Alice Cooper has a similar feel to Ozzy Osbourne here in that it's a little bit pointless. There just doesn't seem to be any reason for him to be there, and Ozzy Osbourne felt equally pointless. Alice Cooper, though, also seems less enthusiastic about being there than Ozzy Osbourne, and that was maybe because Ozzy Osbourne was probably on something when he was appearing the previous year.
Very much. To be fair, Alice Cooper probably was at that point as well.
True.
But maybe he was on something. Maybe he was on more of a downer. Perhaps. Yeah. The main thing that struck me from this is when you see footage of Honky Tonk Man hitting Jake over the head with the guitar in the Snake Pit segment. There's very much an gimmicked guitar, which is apparently one of the things that got him hooked on a lot of the pills, was because he really seriously injured his neck during that, which was a bit of a kind of a sliding doors moment, which made me feel a bit sad. And it looks horrible because that guitar, like I said, it's not gimmicked at all. It is just an acoustic guitar smashed over his head, and it looks awful.
You could tell he was really trying to, like, doing his best to make sure that it actually broke as well.
Yeah.
The amount of times he was like, break.
The other thing that I realised during this as well, so Alice Cooper's first name's Alice. It's never occurred to me before that his name was Alice. It just never, one of those moments you're like, oh yeah, that's a bit weird, isn't it? I know it's not his real name, but still strange.
Yeah, it's funny the guitar thing, because as you say, like, it is properly like it's a real guitar, and it makes you kind of then think about Jarrett and his balsa wood guitars that just exploded upon impact. And it's hard to know what I prefer more, because obviously this was awful. It ruined, arguably, if it was a major part of Jake Roberts' kind of descent into addiction, ruined his life in some respects. But I also object entirely to Jeff Jarrett coming down and hitting people over the head with a guitar that looks like it's made from sugar. Like, I'm like, I don't want either of those things to happen. Basically, if you have, really, to your point, Matt, if you have to, like, if you can't do it and make it look good, don't do it. And equally, if you can't do it and it's going to hurt, then don't do that either. Just find a way to make stuff that doesn't hurt look really good. And neither Jeff Jarrett's doesn't look good, and this wasn't good.
Yeah, it's made me feel a bit sad.
So then Gene Okerlund is also backstage with Honky Tonk Man. Honky says that he knows that the fans all want to see him sing and dance and hear the number one song in America, and he thanks all of his fans across the world. So Honky's very much playing the heel who thinks he's the babyface.
It's amazing. It's so good. It's amazing.
The next match is Jake Roberts versus Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man's got Jimmy Hart in his corner. Jake Roberts has got Alice Cooper in his corner. Jimmy Hart takes another load of punishment during this one. The end of this match comes when Honky schoolboys Roberts and holds the rope to get the pin. After the match, Jimmy is caught in the ring by Jake Roberts and Alice Cooper, and Jake Roberts and Alice Cooper unleash Damian on Jimmy Hart, which again, not great for the Snake. We've discussed that last week. But again, Jimmy Hart taking a load of punishment, and also the fans just hated him. He's really working hard.
He's amazing. I mean, this match, I must admit, I was a little bit fatigued after the last match, because I took an entire page of notes on the last match, and I loved it so much. The match starts off pretty hot with just Jake attacking Honky outside the ring, but I haven't really got many thoughts. I didn't think this match was great. I mean, Honky's got the upper hand through the majority of the match, but when Jake comes back again, the crowd are just into it. There's a great moment when Honky Tonk Man gets hit, and he's kind of between the ropes, and he's like bouncing back and getting hit. It's almost like the stupid clothesline thing that Dean Ambrose used to do, where he would fall back into the ropes. It's like that, but it just keeps getting hit. I like the fact that Honky Tonk Man wins by grabbing the rope to get that extra leverage. So I just hate the stuff with the Snake at the end. I don't like snakes, as everyone knows, but I also don't like the fact they just get an animal who got no choice in the matter and dumps it on someone. I think is really distasteful. At the end of the match, Alice Cooper and Jimmy look like they're about to get into a fight, and they make a joke, the commentary team make a joke about how skinny Alice Cooper's arms are, which I thought was quite funny. But yeah, not a great match, I don't think, but it's kind of a little bit of popcorn fluff after the great match we've just seen.
Alice Cooper suffers from the fact that Gorilla Monsoon doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
And therefore has no inclination to, like, defend him as a babyface or anything. He's just like, I don't know who this guy is, so I don't care.
And he looks exactly the same now as he did then.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Really weird.
Yeah, there wasn't that much to this, to be honest. The thing with this snake, I mean, the bit with the snake that kind of got me is when they sort of panned in when he was in the bag at one point and he was like poking, trying to get out of the bag. I was a bit like, okay, that's a bit do without that. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty much it was Jake trying to get the DDT, which it's still cool that the crowd does definitely pop for that. Like every time he sort of signals, he's going to go for it. They do sort of get into that, so that's cool. I don't know what it is about Honky, but I do find him fascinating. There's just something about that guy's personality that I just find entertaining as hell. So it wasn't the best match, but I quite like Honky Tonk Man, so I was okay with it. The finish was good. The heel cheating in the way that they meant to, so that was cool. Yeah, again, could have done with it again without the snake at the end, but for what it was fine. This was your toilet break, really, after the last match. So it achieved its objective.
Talking about sliding doors moments, let's talk about Honky Tonk Man for a second, shall we? So, and this obviously also links to the whole Randy Savage Ricky Steamboat match. So Ricky Steamboat won the Intercontinental title from Savage in that match, and then not too long afterwards asked WWF management to take a leave of absence because his wife was expecting a baby, and they weren't happy with it because obviously they'd built him up and had him beat Randy Savage, who was another person that they really did actually value quite a lot in the company. They had him pin him clean, arguably. I suppose not quite clean, but near enough. And so they were not happy with him at all. They had then scheduled Ricky Steamboat to lose the belt to Butch Reed, but on the night that he was due to win the match, Butch Reed didn't turn up, and so they had Honky Tonk replace him instead. And it's kind of seen as a bit of a fuck you to Ricky Steamboat, was that Honky beat him for the title, because Honky was a little bit of a joke wrestler, wasn't really supposed to be serious. But from the sounds of it, actually, given that they were trying to give it to Butch Reed instead, and then he wasn't around when they wanted to do it, perhaps was just a consequence of, we need a guy to do it, and we've got Honky here, so we'll just have him do it. But had that not happened, had that sequence of events not taken place, Honky Tonk Man probably wouldn't be remembered quite as fondly or quite as well as he is now, because obviously he then went on to have the record Intercontinental title reign, just because ultimately he was there and they decided there was no one else at that point that they wanted to have the belt. So a bit of a strange moment there where Honky Tonk Man could be just a footnote in wrestling's long history, and instead actually probably had quite a protracted and surprising time as a guy that ultimately would have been in top matches as the Intercontinental Champion on the B-level house shows, would have been against other top baby faces in that position.
I always knew I loved Honky Tonk Man for some reason.
And of course Steamboat would never then be used properly by WWF again. They just were not happy with him at all after all that had happened. And seemingly, I suppose, at this point, they obviously had big plans for Steamboat. Again, thinking about the B-level shows on the house show circuit, he would have headlined them.
Yeah.
He would have been the headlining act in those matches. So it would have been quite a difficult position for them to be in. I'm not sure it warranted them being quite so vindictive. I'm sure they could have come to some kind of arrangement, but still, you can almost see their point a little bit. It wouldn't have been a surprise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ricky Steamboat's wife was pregnant. It wouldn't have been like suddenly, oh my God, we've got a baby. So, maybe there should have been some communications open earlier on in that kind of whole thing, which was, look, before you put the title on me, this is happening. Can we arrange something? But no, I don't know whether that was his third wife, his fourth wife, or his fifth wife, Tom. But
yeah, I know. He's a philanderer, Steamboat.